Hey gang, Sean Geek here,
And Fast Fret.
and we have two storefronts. If you are a T Public fan, you can browse our inventory over at T Public, which is tpublic.com/ Sean Geek Podcast.
Or redbubble.com/people/Sean Geek Podcast.
You can get anything from either storefront, from t-shirts, stickers, phone cases, accessories of all kinds. We're talking masks, notebooks, mugs, pillows, totes, tapestries.
Oh my.
Oh my. Everything's there. Just go to those addresses. Also check the show notes and help support the show. Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye. Well, I mean, when I was younger, I could, read the small print on pretty much everything. And then, just before I hit my 50s, it was like I kept looking at it and, just like anything like this fast fret stuff. I mean, you look at it and it tells
That's Fred
you,
Brand right there.
yeah, I mean, it's clean strings, lets you play faster. I mean, it's,
The furrowing of the brow. I see now.
yeah, you're trying to, back and forth trying to figure it out. Now I've got those glasses you get from the dollar store or Costco or the drugstore, the cheaters, look
Yeah.
like an
Yep.
old, look like Santa Claus with the little spectacles on. They're trying to read these bottles and special medications and stuff, and you're trying to read to say, how many a day and whatnot. It just it sucks getting old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the real topic, right? It sucks
Yeah.
getting old. Not,
That's-
yeah.
That is the topic.
Yeah, I mean, I got pains that I never had before, but then again, I don't move around like I used to either. So as you get older, you get more comfortable, and when you're working when you're younger, you work to try to be able to relax when you get older. And then when you get older and you start relaxing, it's like, you know what? I think I'm relaxing too much.
Oh, there's no such
Now I'm
thing.
out of shape. Even though pear is a shape, but I'm out of shape anyway.
Oh, last night I partied last night. I was up till 2.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I was like, holy shit. We went to we actually had our first double date since 2018, 2019, I guess it was. So we went to see a movie with Sylvie's sister and her husband. We all managed to get sitters, which was God.
That's a feat in
scheduling.
itself, yeah.
Oh God, like you got kids, like
Yeah.
we've all been through this, and it's like just to go out with another couple is so freaking hard. But we managed to do it, and we went out, and then when we got home, Sylvia's like, "Okay, I'm beat because we're not used to going out," and I'm like, "Fuck that! I'm young. I'm staying up." Stayed up, and I played video games till 2 a.m. And boy, did I have trouble getting out of bed this morning. I was just,
I believe it, yeah.
oh God. Sylvie got up at 6, started writing. She beat everyone awake. Even the kids slept until like 8:30, I think. Yeah.
Did you drink?
No,
And you didn't even drink, and you had a hard time getting up the next
no,
day.
no, I'm not used to staying up. I'm up early every morning. I go to bed early and get up early. That's my thing. Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm getting real old, like 9:30.
So let's go back to
Nine.
this pill thing. So I had laser eye surgery like 25, 30 years ago, whatever the hell it was. And I don't know, I was feeling kind of invulnerable, like, hey, I can see, I don't need glasses. My vision was like horrible before. I was like a -7 or something before, and I felt on top of the world, and I'm seeing everyone else, like they get these cheater glasses. I'm like, and then I guess my vision was getting worse, but I don't take any medications or anything like that. I don't even like taking Tylenol. I don't know. I have the odd drink here and there, but I don't like drugs or anything like that. I'm just that's just not me. So I don't.
You're just a square in.
I'm boring, and so I've never had to read a Tylenol bottle. I've never had to read, but then when the kids came, and then you're trying to give them the medication, and then I had that panic moment where I really need to see my kids burning up. I got to give her this fever medication, and I'm trying to read it, and I can't read it, and I'm like panicking, like, oh my God. And then you think you read it right, and then you pour the amount and you think it's the right one, and you give it to them, and then you're second guessing, going,
Yeah.
oh shit, no, it's broken up by age. Oh shit. And I give them too much, and I just doped up, worried that you doped up your kids.
Totally.
And like, but it's people our age that are going to be reading this. It's not people in their 20s anymore that are going to be reading this. It's people with, vision problems at this age, because your vision starts degenerating at 35 or something, or I don't know, something like that. But that's who parents are. Parents aren't 20-something-year-olds anymore. Like,
Some of them are. I mean,
yeah, but I mean, predominantly it's people are starting to have kids in their 30s, right? So if you're going to have an issue like I did, where I'm trying to read this damn thing and I can't figure out, like, you don't want to misdose your kid on anything. I don't know.
I wonder if part of it is like that they want to keep medication, because I mean the medication can be for all different kinds of things. They want to keep some privacy to it, so they don't have giant letters saying what it is. I mean, what if it's something embarrassing and you're at the store and they hand you this thing and everyone in line can read it because it's in like massive letters, says ass cream or whatever. I wonder if that's part of it. Like they're trying to keep it subtle and not.
The tractor beam went through several preparations. Preparations A through G were a complete failure. But now, ladies and gentlemen, we finally have a working tractor beam, which we shall call Preparation H. What?
Why don't you just call it Operation Ass Cream, you ass?
Aging boner.
Yeah, boner pills, giant letters. Yeah.
Boner pills.
Yeah.
I mean, it can't be any worse than those commercials. I mean, if you ever seen the commercials where, if you have this, this to treat whatever ails you, but they play this fa la la music while they're telling you all the side effects,
all the ways you're going to die when you take it.
And it's like death, anal bleeding. What the hell is this?
This is a zit cream. I might get anal bleeding out of a zit cream.
My AOC is what? It's weird. and you listen to, and they're from the drug companies. Yeah. So I mean, next time you see one, Revelta or whatever drug is on TV, listen to the music. It's all people laughing, playing, frolicking, going for a walk. These old people smiling.
Well, they want to distract you from the fact that it just says anal bleeding and death on the screen. Right? So.
Oh yeah, it may cause. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's almost like there's more side effects than there is benefits.
Yeah.
And I mean that would be like, a drug for depression, and on the side effect is worse depression.
Yeah, so it may cause depression.
It may cause depression. Yeah. So it's like,
so Todd, you're referring to commercials. Are you saying you still have cable?
No, this is actually on the stick.
Oh, on the stick.
But yeah, we still have cable. I've got the basic.
Well,
Sam, do you have cable?
I haven't in more than 20 years.
Okay, I can't remember when we had cable. It was forever ago. But I know what Todd. But I do know what Todd.
I know what I've seen those too. They haven't changed in years, right? It's the same.
We had a kids party, and we went there, and it was at Paulo's house, and Paulo has a stick to get all those free channels, and whenever we go somewhere where there's cable, Sylvia, I don't know why, Sylvia and I invariably, it's like Game Show Network. We put it on and we're just like transfixed. I don't know why, but so anyway, there's a party going on. There's kids running around. Sylvia and I are like just glassy eyed in front of the TV watching I don't even know what the game show was. I'd
Supermarket Sweep or something. Yeah.
And but I noticed predominantly the commercials for the game show network were all the drug ones. So what is that like? I guess that's the core market is.
Yeah, people still have cable and watch game shows all day, or are like 108 and up.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
Yeah, they all have diabetes and
Yeah. They have all of those side effects just in general.
They have all the elements. Yeah.
Well, yeah. What you're saying though is this nice, pretty music, and then there's some. I mean, and then death and prize check. Like I don't know. It's like.
Yeah, pretty much.
What was that comedian Todd he used to imitate all the time? He was talking about the airport PAs. He was like, "You're a flight. Bomb check, bomb scare. Thank you,
bomb squad. That's what it was. Yeah.
What'd they say? I don't know.
For the Matt Marshall podcast, and every Friday, what I like to do is dig up some Manitoba gold for you.
I can't remember who the comedian was.
I don't know.
I figure we're not going to need to know how to read anything small anymore in the near future because they're just going to have that gesture. It'll exist on the bottles too, where you can just enlarge. I'm sure we're not far off from that being a thing. Like it really doesn't seem that far off that you'd be able to go to like a book or anything and just go bloop and just kind of I don't know how they're going to make that happen, but everything is gesturable now. So
well, it's probably going to have because I've noticed this. I bought a couple of pieces of electronics for work or whatever, and then you open up the box, you take out the device, and remember the old days you buy anything there was like usually like a super thick manual. It came in like 12 different languages or whatever. And then
now it's a QR code.
Now, yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, so it's a QR code on the box. You scan it, and then everything's there. So maybe they would have that for pill bottles and stuff.
I can see that. Just a code, and you just that would make a lot of sense. Yeah.
Well, if you're going to the extent of opening up the camera on your phone and scanning the QR code, you could just open up the camera on your phone,
take a picture,
look at the pill bottle, and then do the wide thing, and then you can actually read it.
I think you've just solved this problem. I don't think
you just solved the problem for me. God damn it, Todd. That's brilliant. Because I'm sure we all walk around with our phones in our back pockets.
Yeah, constantly.
Or whatever, right?
Yeah. I can barely see anyway, so that's these glasses are ridiculously thick.
What's your prescription? Or is it?
I don't know what the actual number is, but I don't know if you can see it here. But like, if you can look at the side of how thick
holy shit, yeah,
they're really thick. This eye is shit. It's a lazy. I have a lazy eye, so it's when I was a kid, I used to wear an eye patch on the good eye to strengthen the lazy one, and it sorted itself out. But then the older I get, the more it starts happening again, and so I could be like,
wake up tired, right?
Yeah, well, I'm tired for sure. Yeah. But I could wake up tomorrow and this eye could just be pointing directly in, and I can't do anything about it. And it's just like, I actually bought an eye patch the other day just to try that again.
One time, just because one of my eye teeth, the adult one came out, and it was pushing on the baby one, and then it just kind of came out inward a little bit. So I needed to have a retainer put in. It had a spring on it, and it would put tension on my eye tooth. And then eventually, as time went on, I'd go back to, it was a Dr. Horseman at the time. And then he would adjust the spring on it so that it would just keep pushing until everything was straight.
Huh.
Wow. But nowadays, I mean, if your kid's teeth aren't 100% perfect, okay, as soon as they sit in the chair, they see dollar signs. Oh, I got a new yacht I can buy now because now I've got someone else that I can soak for
braces and
yeah. I don't think there is a kid on earth that has perfectly straight teeth, from birth. So I mean, every family has probably been told by their dentist or orthodontist that they have to have braces because their teeth aren't 100% straight.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't know. Yeah, when we were growing, I was like, unless you're like super rich, you wouldn't get braces or you wouldn't get this or that but now it's I don't know, it's different now. It's weird.
Yeah, it is. It's weirdly different. Yeah. I mean, it's good. Obviously, a lot of these options you can do things that are like you just described, where it's much less painful, and you can get it done early, and they can spot it early and stuff. But yeah, it definitely a lot more. Do this, fix that, fix everything. Whereas before, everyone was just kind of left it, hope for the best.
I'm actually going to share something because I've been obsessed. I've been listening to this all week. It's here.
Okay.
Or not a little bit.
Oh, maybe not.
Shediac. We said I ride the 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 Shediac. Moi s'il vous plaît, mais c'est beaucoup bienvenue. Excusez-moi s'il vous plaît, mais c'est beaucoup bienvenue. Excusez-moi s'il vous plaît, mais.
All right. That's all I share.
I think I may have seen that years ago.
So that's where me and Todd are from. People don't believe that it's a real place. Shediac. They're like, that's come on. You made that up. There's the proof. It's a real place.
It's got some rap, yeah.
Yeah. So this is it's talking about fried clams and fish and chips and
Lobster.
and then they're talking about various places in New Brunswick and stuff. So I obsessively listened to this song all week, and then I dumped it. I downloaded it and I dumped it into Reaper, and I just started snipping this shit out of it so I could create sound clips. So in the recent edit for next week's or the week after's whatever, there's a point that Todd goes, well, back home in Shediac, and I just started inserting shit from this thing into the episode. Oh my god. So I don't know, it's funny. So you're not familiar?
No, I'm not familiar.
This is a comedy duo.
Yeah,
They're not actually
obviously you can tell that. Yeah,
but I don't know. I'm this song about our hometown, man. It's fucking awesome.
It's kind of cool.
I like the one where it shows you Shediac from 85.
Yeah.
And then it shows you Shediac now. And it shows how it's changed. Because when you grow up, like anyone, in their hometown, they're used to certain buildings being in certain places and having certain businesses in them.
Yeah.
And what happened was it was like, oh yeah, I remember that, or I remember that. Yeah, I remember that. Then they show it now. I was like, well, where'd it go? Well, now it's a Dollarama. It used to be a post office, or there was no such thing as a McDonald's or Tim Hortons or all that stuff back then. Like you barely had them in Moncton, like in the bigger city.
Yeah.
So for now, to look at it now, going, it's no different than if you went to Brandon or you went to somewhere else. I mean, it's all the same now.
Were you from small town, or are you just from Winnipeg?
No, I'm from here. Yeah,
from here. Yeah. Our town, like I don't know how big was Moncton or Shediac, Todd? Was it like 5,000, 7,000 something?
Oh, I was so young. I don't know. I didn't really pay attention to the actual population of it. I just lived there. Because
I don't know. But it's called, it's the lobster capital of the world. Apparently.
It's a big deal.
Pretty big.
But there's some areas like where you go from Shediac to Skiduk. It was a different, it was pretty much all woods. And I think now there's been such a boom of people building that the woods and stuff that you would normally have gone into isn't there anymore.
Okay, so I just pulled up the wiki page for Shediac. I didn't realize they would have one. I didn't think they would. So when we were living there, Todd, the population was 4,000.
Wow.
Well, 42, or wait, no, 1981, 4,289.
Wow.
But it had a massive jump between 61 and 81. It went up 98.7%. So it doubled in size between 61 and 81.
Wow.
It used to be 2,000 people. And now it's 7,500. So like there was maybe 3 or 4 restaurants, I guess. And then there was the only chain that we had was Pizza Delight.
Pizza Delight. I don't even know that one. I don't think we had that here.
No.
Well,
I think you
have Chicken Delight here.
Yes.
And I think I've seen the sign. I think there is a Pizza Delight from the Chicken Delight,
Okay.
Oh,
but they just had the pizza version.
Yeah.
There. And it was
Well-
probably the best pizza I remember ever eating.
yeah, it was good.
One thing that I'm kind of jealous of the younger generations is that all of the stuff that they like, like you're saying, all these buildings used to be other things when you're a kid, and it's totally different now. All that's documented though now. I mean, now like all of those businesses have social media accounts. So if you want to, 20 years from now, if you want to look up the store you used to go to all the time for whatever, it's going to exist online. You can look at old pictures of it. I mean, I'm 40. I'm younger than you guys, but even stuff when I was a kid, it's not. You can't find that. Like I can't go look at pictures of the record stores I used to go to in Winnipeg
Oh, God.
in 95 or whatever, 97. Like they're not there unless someone happened to take one or there's a video of something else and it's in the background. But like you just can't find that, and I'm jealous of people who, because I like that. I really kind of obsess over, as you know, like Winnipeg music stuff, especially.
Yeah, yeah.
And imagine if every show in the '90s I'd had a phone and I could have taken pictures at and video at.
God.
And like, how cool would that be, right? And now, I mean, like something you mentioned Garbage Hill earlier, like something like Corefest, which was the festival that used to have a Garbage Hill every year in the '90s. There's a few videos online of it and a few photos, and there's 2 CD compilations which I have collecting like some of the local artists from it.
Yeah.
But that's it.
That's
like
it.
there's you're not going to see photos from an individual band unless like someone happened to be filming it in the 10 minutes of footage they got. Like, and it would be so cool if that existed. And it's cool that, even though there's a lot of bad things about documenting everything, just in the amount of shit people throw online is irrelevant, but there's going to be a lot of useful stuff in there that people can go back and be nostalgic about.
Like you know what? So that brings up an interesting point, Todd, with your performances in your band back in high school and stuff. There was video a lot of the time. Why was that? Like,
there was video?
Well, there's a few performances that you have.
Well, I had the only performance that I recall that was ever videoed was the pageants.
Oh yeah, okay.
So if we played for someone who one of their talents was singing, they usually asked us to play. So we'd be up there. And I remember I still have a VHS tape here somewhere of us playing.
Oh, you got to convert that.
Playing there. But yeah, I'd have to convert it somehow. But
you have to rely on your memory, like for those things, right? Because I remember, like that. You're
there
not
might
gonna...
be maybe a picture floating around somewhere. That I mean, if people had the pictures and actually took the time to scan them,
right? They're probably lost. They're probably long lost. Most of them. Someone probably had 20 pictures of all these shows, and it's just been lost in a basement 30 years ago or whatever, right? So yeah, it's now everything gets uploaded to social media right away, and there's a record of it somewhere on the internet.
Exactly. Yeah. So I see your point where everything now, if you're growing up and you're a kid now growing up, there's pretty much digital
of everything.
Everything. Yeah.
And like Google Maps, you can do Google Street View, and you can look at your house like 5 years ago. But I mean, you can't look at your house like I can't look at the house I grew up in Wolseley from like 1980s, because it wasn't Google Street View wasn't a thing. Yeah. But my kids can go back and look at what our house looks like now. And like my oldest daughter, we lived in a different house in the West End when she was born. She can look at that house from when she was like 3 or 4 and see what it looked like just on Google Street View, which is super cool.
Right. That's like all of mom's old recordings are gone. Like from when she was recording at CBC Studios or whatever, wherever it was she was. Yeah. Like she cut a whole bunch of studio stuff, but the CBC would, and I don't know. You remember when you had a whole bunch of blank cassettes, and then it would fill up, and then eventually you would
reuse them.
I'm gonna reuse this one.
You tape over it. Yep.
Right. So that's what they did with all the recording. CBC would re-record over top of their cassettes, or or not cassettes, but like the reel to reels or whatever. So any recordings that my mom had get re-recorded over with something, 5 years later, and then 5 years after that, and 5 years after that. But like mom had a bunch of studio recordings, apparently, like everybody in the family knows about them, but we'll never get to hear it. But
now it's all in the cloud. Now, like, I mean, I've been on the radio, like, I mean, for my day job, I'm normally writing, but there have been a few times I've been on, just for a few minutes or whatever on the radio talking about stuff, and that all exists. Like, it's all floating around out there somewhere, which is super cool. And this, kind of brings me to an idea that I've wanted to do forever, which I don't know if it'll ever happen, but I've had this idea for years and years and years, and it's in part related to this, and this just conversation made me think of it, is that I want to go to the location of as many old Winnipeg record stores and venues that are now other things, and take photos outside them and try to get photos of the original venue, and then make like a coffee table type book with like essays and interviews on each one of the venues and each one of the record stores, like talk to, because I mean I can handle the writing part, and I know a lot of professional photographers that I could probably would be down for doing it. It's just a matter of, I mean, time and finding a way to make money off it to make it worthwhile. But I've been wanting to do this forever. I think there's so many places that used to be venues that would be like, and there's so much cool history that now they're just like an office building or a store. The building's gone or whatever. Like, and I think that no one's really done that yet in Winnipeg about sort of the history of all these places that now are forgotten.
Wasn't there something for the Albert? Like there was a video made about the
Albert. A documentary about the Albert, and it's great. It's Randy Frickus made it, and it's called Call to Arms. I highly recommend it. But even with that, I mean, that's focused entirely on it as a music venue for the most part, and it's really fascinating. They got some really cool interviews on there and stuff. And like I would recommend to anyone to watch that, because it's the Albert. He's like the same age as me-ish, so it's the Albert that I remember. A lot of the focus is on, but no one has really done anything on the Albert. Like, I brought this up on Twitter, speaking of Twitter again the other day, that like I tend to go to the public library, and get as many weird Winnipeg history books as I can find, like just about history of buildings and people and why the streets are named what they're named and all this stuff. And I've never seen a book on the Albert. Like, I don't think anyone's done a book specifically about the history of the Albert, not just as a venue, but like it has that, like, it's been around for so long. It has, I mean, there's that grisly murder in there. There's all kinds of stuff that's happened there that's just messed up and weird and interesting. And again, I could write it. I know how to write. Obviously, I do that for a living, but time, right? I mean, it's just
Didn't Giving Up the Ghost do?
They may have.
With I gotta check with them and see if they did, because it's weird. There's no documentation. It's
there is here and there. There's people who've done blog stories and stuff, and like there's been podcasts that have covered the murder there. Like, I actually looked for it once, and there's a bunch of podcasts, like true crime podcasts, that did stories on the Albert, like that murder, because it was so messed up, and the guy's body parts were everywhere in the tub and everything. And like, I've been in the murder tub. Like, I've been in that room, and like I've been in that room. Not like to stay there. I'm not going to stay at the Albert, but like, just, you know, I've been inside the room.
Why not?
Yeah, well, I mean, if you have been in the Albert, you would know why.
No, I have.
But, apparently it's nice now, though. I saw an ad they were renting the rooms out, actually. But anyway, yeah. So like, there's all this cool stuff, and I think that like maybe as people who lived through it and didn't have access to constantly uploading everything, we should be somehow working to make it exist online. I think that's kind of why I do the podcast in a roundabout way, is because I have all the I've been documenting my entire collection of local music, and I have like 911 or something, like tape, CDs, and records of local bands. Which is like disgusting, and it's sick, and I have something wrong with me that I keep hoarding this stuff. But like, I think it comes from a sense of like, if someone doesn't keep this, it's not going to get kept. And this is like going to be lost in someone's basement. I mean, the amount of people I know who made great records, like when we were teenagers or in my 20s and stuff, and they don't exist anymore. Like, it's terrifying. And yeah,
well, I was going to ask you, remember, in back in the day, you had a catalog of bands on Witch Police, but that was with Podiant or whatever the hell they're called.
Yeah.
You don't have that online anymore.
No, but you can search for whatever band. But no, I don't have a big list of all of the guests. It would take forever.
No, I don't mean. I guess you had some music up. Like, you had...
Yeah, I did. Yeah, that was before Podiant or whatever. That was when it was Witch Police, before the podcast was a blog,
right?
That existed to basically do just what I described, like to mostly my shitty bands and my friends' shitty bands. Like, we weren't really seeking out, like, you know, artistically interesting stuff that we wanted to preserve. It was mostly like, oh, hey, remember that tape you made like 7 years ago? Do you still have it? I can digitize it for you. You know, 3 people will listen to it. Let's put it online. But I mean, I don't know. I have this weird obsession with wanting this stuff to exist somehow. All that stuff is still up online. It's just harder to find now because I took down the old blog site.
Oh, is it? Okay.
But I know where to find it. Like, it's all archived. I know where to get it.
Yeah. Our grandfather was very big on recording. He used to have a tape deck, and he loved wrestling. So he would sit there and he would record pretty much every match that there was
Audio only.
on TV,
Oh, wow.
just audio. And God forbid you couldn't make a noise when this was being recorded, because he would keep them, and he had horse like the tapes that you have behind you. He had so many different types of tapes, and after a while, like when I go over there, he'd say, "Here, grab some tapes," because I'd have a recorder, and I would do stuff with it. I mean, I'd interview the dog, or I'd go outside, and we had this huge. It was a fuel cell from a locomotive, because my dad worked there, and we had a septic tank, I guess, that needed to be changed. So he was able to buy this thing to replace. So I'd be inside this this fuel cell, and with
Reporting
my
on the scene right now, Todd
yeah,
McGinnity.
with the natural reverberation inside the unit and stuff. It was
Cool.
yeah, I'd strap it on my motorcycle, my dirt bike. I'd go for a drive, and I'd have this microphone. I still have tapes here somewhere with all that stuff on it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, like with my buddy Gary, he had a dirt bike too. So we had this little dirt track in the back of our house. It wasn't really a dirt track, but we had a bunch of apple trees. So we'd make a track to go around these things, and then pretend we were announcers, and then we'd run up to the guy who didn't quite make turn 3, and go interview him while
That's
he's
awesome.
he's laying on the ground.
Bleeding out of his head or whatever.
Yeah, so stuff like that. But yeah, it's always cool to go back to that stuff, and that's why I record it. I mean, even back when we had flip phones, when you had shitty pictures, I still have those. I have those of my kids when they were younger, because that was the only thing I had back then.
Yeah.
That that you could really take photos of, other than I had a video camera type thing. But I mean, I've got tapes of the camera, but they don't make the video 8 camera anymore. So
I have those too of my kid. My oldest one, when she was a baby, I have tapes, like videotapes, but we don't have a player anymore that will handle them.
Yeah. So I mean, unless you want to send them somewhere and get them, they'll charge you $50-$60.
Yeah.
Each cassette to transfer over, which is terrible. But
well, there's a company that sells a conversion stuff, and they have multiple brands. I have one for cassette tape, like for audio cassette tape to convert to MP3, and they're the same company that does a vinyl conversion one too.
Oh yeah.
But I think they do other stuff too, like for different video as well. Like you can buy like it. I think I bought this for like, I don't know, it's like $120. But if you think how much it would, like if I got all my cassettes converted and I paid somebody to do it, it'd be a lot more than $120, right?
Yeah.
So, it might be worth the investment to, I don't know, that stuff's got to be preserved. Like, I mean, that's what.
Well, that's the problem, right? Is like you can keep it all on tape, and I mean, I still listen to tapes daily. I have a tape deck. I still listen to tapes, but one day something could happen to some of these tapes.
Yeah.
And then what? Like, so should I be transferring all these to digital? Yeah.
Like I've been converting cassettes like for the last, I don't know, like 6 months, just because there's stuff that like they're bands or whatever. Like I got one for Asterfall. I guess there's some local band, some metal band, and then just a few local bands. I only have the cassettes, and I don't think they ever release CDs. I don't think it was like before that time. But then it's like, okay, well, I'm going to convert these, but then what? Like, where do I put them? Like, I've got them on my computer, but like, I'd like to reach out to these bands and say, look, I don't know if you ever did anything with it, but I've got it. Can I put it on Bandcamp or something for you? Or because Bandcamp's a great place to get a lot of like great stuff on there. Like, I love Bandcamp.
Yeah, there's a Bandcamp that has like dozens of 90s Winnipeg hardcore tapes, like of hardcore bands, and they've just put them up. I know the guy who does it, and at least I think he's the way who does it. I'm pretty sure. But it's just this archive of Winnipeg hardcore, and it's pretty cool. A lot of them are demo tapes and stuff that you're not going to find. I'll find the link and send it to you. I don't know.
Oh, please do, because I'd love to check out this. I love Winnipeg hardcore.
Yeah.
Like I like anything Winnipeg. Doesn't matter if it's a Winnipeg band. I don't know. I tend to like it.
Well, it's funny because you guys aren't Winnipeggers too, right? Originally, like it's. I mean, for me, it's kind of like this is. I have no choice. I'm obsessed.
Yeah.
But you had the choice. You chose to become obsessed.
You know what? Like
you weren't born to it.
Well, I think the thing is back home, love it or hate it. There was like a lot of fiddle music. There was a lot of, and it was always like this, like the music that came out of New Brunswick when we were growing up. The only stuff I heard was fiddle music and it wasn't even like bluegrass. It was just, it seemed to be like a type of music, and it had a Celtic bent to it. Yeah. And growing up, it's like, oh, I just want to hear like something with a beat, like, because sometimes it's like just this fiddle with no drums, or I just wanted to hear anything different. And then when I moved here, and I mentioned this before in the show, I'm like, okay, I'm walking in Winnipeg, I'm on Fort Street or whatever, and then I hear music, and I just walk into a venue, and the Blue Meanies are playing. Yeah, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, like this is Canadian music, because back then the only thing I knew was like fucking Burton Cummings, and I hated the guy's guts. Like
that's the right opinion to have on him. Yeah,
it was just so fucking boring,
terrible.
And I'm like, so when you're
Street Heart, Harlequin, all those other bands,
but I didn't have them. But I didn't know any of that stuff. Like back then, it was Canadian was Gordon Lightfoot, Burton Cummings. I don't know. Wasn't there some country guy? He had a variety show.
Stompin' Tom.
No, we didn't even get Stompin' Tom back home. There was some other guy that had he was like Glenn Campbell type kind of music. But I come to Winnipeg, I'm like, I go see, I literally hear the Meanies. I'm like, I pay the guy at the door, I go in, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, like this is original music. Like I was like converted. I'm like, because back home it was always the same kind of music. It's not, but apparently it never was like that. But I was a kid.
You weren't exposed to the right stuff. Yeah, you were just.
No, I wasn't. Like Eric's Trip came out of there, and there was a whole like punk scene and hardcore and all this sort of stuff. That my cousin wrote a book about the scene back home, and I'm like if I'd have been there to hear that stuff, I would have been so hardcore. Moncton music scene, but there was no way for me to hear it unless I was of age, and I moved here when I was 15, so I missed everything.
But that's a good time to come here as a teenager, because there's so much music going on, right? I mean, that's like ideal time to really kind of be introduced to what's going on in Winnipeg.
I mean, like when I saw Propaganda at the Albert, I'm like, Jesus Christ, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah,
like my mind was blown. Like it was like this can't be, like it didn't make any sense. And then I'm like, they're from Winnipeg, and they're
from Portage. They're not even from Winnipeg.
Well, I know
Portage, which is like even.
I didn't even know what a portage was.
Yeah.
Like, why does everybody call it portage? I see portage, but
portage.
Calling it what the hell? Because I was French. We came here. Their thick accents.
La Jamodière.
Todd probably doesn't believe this, but when I went to, because Todd was graduated, but I came here for late, my last 2 years of high school, and I went into class, and nobody could understand a thing I was saying. They said my accent was so thick they couldn't understand a thing I was saying, because I was talking like that. I guess maybe more like that a bit, or I don't know. I guess maybe we were. But people just made fun of me, like, who the fuck are you from? But I don't know. Yeah. But anyway, we've gone on. Holy shit. Okay, well, we've gone on long enough. We're totally off the rails. Well,
I know this side of the track. My dog, so this is perfect. Yeah.
Sex magic?
Scientology?
Like it's all like Rosemary's Baby.
Yeah, maybe.
They're all just watching some woman.
That's what Witch Police comes from. Rosemary's Baby.
Oh, really?
The name Witch Police. Yeah, were you there? We were watching a bunch of people were watching horror movies, and the Witch Police came from. I wrote it down. Like they should call the police. Oh, who are they going to call? The Witch Police?
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
Heard it here.
Anyway,
what a great movie that
is. It's a great movie. Yeah.
Me some socials.
I mean, you look for Witch Police on pretty much anything. Hopefully, this is the only thing you get is the podcast. I mean, I'm stuck with this stupid name now. So, I mean, for the past
I
10
know.
years. So, it better be me if you search for Witch Police. So, yeah.
Yep.
I'm on everything. I don't understand what Mastodon is, but I made an account on it. I don't follow anyone. No one follows me. I don't know what I'm doing. So hopefully Twitter just remains, and I don't have to worry about that. But I'm on all the real ones that make sense.
Yep.
Yeah, and then witchpolice.com to find the podcast. Yeah.
It's I've said it before. Winnipeg makes the best music. So, and Sam has all the local music on the show
of varying quality sometimes, but yeah, most of them are good.
No, but no, it's good. Like it's not just one style of music. So if you listen to Witch Police, like, oh fuck, I don't like that band. If that's the only types of bands he's gonna have, no, he has everything. Like he even had Chantal Kravaziak on there. Eric's or Julie Doiron.
Yeah,
my
but that was because she was in a band with Mike from
yeah.
So, Julie and the Wrong Guys. Yeah,
Julie and the Wrong Guys, which is great. Actually, after listening to that episode, I'm like, I just deep dived into it because I wasn't even aware of that of that at all. Because Julie Doran's always doing these side projects.
Yeah. Well, and they recorded here because Mike, who was the drummer in Cancer Bats in Toronto, he lives here and he's from here. And I grew up down the street from him because Winnipeg, everyone knows each other, right? So
that's right.
We were kids and we hung out, and then now he's in Cancer Bats and he's appearing on my show, talking about his much more successful creative projects. But
yes, of course, of course. All right, you can find us at Sean Geek Podcast on everything. Not at Sean Geek, definitely not that. That's that other guy. The guy's going to replace me on the show. And we're.
You should ask him. You should really ask him if he'll do it.
I should
just see what he says. Like, I mean, I
think I'm going to. Well, like, why the hell not?
Ask him if he wants to do a Zoom call with you and like record his response to you asking him to take over an episode of your show. And then if he says no, you still have that audio, right?
Yeah, that'd be great. And on other stuff, you probably saw the post I put, but we're pretty darn close to the Bros Before Gin thing. I just got to get the tracks over to Todd's and
very cool.
A bunch of copies. I think Todd has some blank CDs.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So I've got a bunch of cassette.
I think my burner still works.
Not cassette cases. What are they called? CDs. Yeah, those things. I've got a bunch of CD cases here. So cool. You'll get one of the first copies.
Yeah, looking forward to hearing it.
Probably the first copy. Yeah, so I've changed. So for those that don't know, it's the Bros Before Gin music, and then some stuff before that, some demos. There's I think a couple demos on there, and then stuff that Todd and I did with Just Jammin', and then I put the Cyber Love stuff on there because I had nowhere else to put it, which is that techno thing. I was in for like 5 minutes.
Did you just before I go here? This goes back to what we were talking about before. Were you able to find any photos of any of these bands to use for like cover or liner notes or anything like that?
Like photos of the bands playing?
Yeah. Do those exist, or is it like lost in the?
I've got Well, the Salty Bear. There might be photos. There's no Salty Bear on this particular release, but I'm still doing a Salty Bear one.
If you do have that stuff, though, you should throw it on as a cover or something, even if it's just like a, like lo-fi kind of photocopy thing or something, just because that's, again, like that doesn't exist anywhere, right? Yeah. No one can Google that and find a picture of you. So if you have them, you should. I
think like for the Just Jammin' stuff, we have lots of pictures. Maybe Todd can find something.
Yeah, I'd look on some old hard drives
and stuff or something. I'll put it on the inner sleeve as a background. That's a good idea.
There you go.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, I gotta walk my dog before she pisses herself. But thanks for having me back on the show. Always happy to do it, and I'll have you guys on hopefully soon and talk about when you get those records coming out. Yeah. We can talk about those.
Sounds good.
All right.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Sounds
Thanks again, fellas. Yeah.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks.
Okay. Bye.